Oh, hey, Triad members. Today is Tuesday for me in the middle of the afternoon on April 26, 2022. I'm not looking at the camera because my screen doesn't work. I'm looking at myself. About our first session, I wanted to say that we're probably all not super happy with it, and we probably all, I mean, you can give me your feedback on this, but you're probably all not wanting the others to go the same way, in the sense that you believe this, like me, is a project that is worth, making sure we get right, because it's very useful to whoever might find it. I would like to create a playlist of at least, I would say, I'm going to create a playlist of 17. And in these 17, I will chart later what they will be. 9 will be these levels of intelligence. And the other 3, which means 12, and then I'll add 5 for other things we will agree on. 3 could be our own videos related to this near the end, based on some ideas I want to share. Remember, I talked about not just talking the talk, but walking the talk, like the practical evaluation of intelligence. So I would like us to challenge each other to agree to demonstrate these, or to make a test where we can, make sure that even if we have to do work, whatever it is, based on the test we all agree to together, to have at least, an average level of all these types of intelligence. So, for example, what I want to add now is that when we do, and I'm going to suggest structure. I guess I created this triad so I can be maybe the first speaker that talks about it, and then I would say every session would have 4 speakers, and of course I'll be one of the other ones as a regular speaker. But I want to introduce all these and the idea that I will suggest to you guys in writing, which will be at the bottom of the videos that I would post with this playlist. And one will be related to smartness as a difference from the different types of intelligence. The other 3 I wanted to add is the challenge that I told you guys that I want to do, which is to add 3 types of intelligence that I will become certain near the end were not included in the 9. So add 3 totally different ones. So the thing I'd like to do with you guys when I write up some structure for you guys to agree to, because I don't believe that you guys will want to do this structure yourselves, so I will create it and you can give me feedback on it about how our sessions for these topics will go, and aiming between 90. So 90 is like we banged it on, 90 minutes, and 100 minutes, so 10 extra is, our little lack of discipline, let's call it, our preparation if we exceed. But I do not want to exceed 100 minutes. So as the first speaker, what I would do is I would introduce either me, because I'll be one of the 3 presenters, or Glenn or Irina. And based on the predetermined subjects that you will moderate and facilitate. So I have to include in this structure the role of the facilitator and moderator. So I've made you guys admins in the triad. I believe I don't know if you had to accept or not. I don't know what happened with that. I will not be connecting to the internet as often now that I've returned to my poverty, that I'm not house sitting with the faster internet and the easier access secondary screen TV to plug into. Here I have a secondary screen, but I don't have power in my motorhome because I did not raise enough money to put solar panels. I've worked for a school board and I don't agree with what they were doing, so I didn't cash the checks they gave me, and I plan to pursue that for the sake of culture repair projects. What I wanted to say as well is, I don't want to say subjects are off limits for this series, but I want to be very clear that I'm tired of having conversations with people about, let's say, HSD, or about the state of the world, the human condition, about having an ecocentric worldview, and them all believing they already have this, even though practically speaking they don't. For me, this is very frustrating because these things are able to be discussed If they're discussed with triggers, I'm not interested, because I'm not interested in being a counselor in the triad or in the barn raising. I am interested in being a counselor, just separately. So either of you could ask me separately, Martin, can I get your additional support with this outside of the triad projects? And I will very likely agree. But in the triad projects, I want to be very structured, and I want it to be, well disciplined, well researched, well prepared, and if we end up not being a good fit, then we're not a good fit. I mean, I might try to find other people, but I might not ever find other people, and my theory explains why. So I have a lot of history with you guys. We're trying again. I think I'm the only one that acknowledged that we failed the first time to try to collaborate together. So, that's a red flag right there, that I'm the only one talking about it and trying again. And I'm calling the triad, the description that it does, that, we're trying again. So until we succeed, I'm not going to create a playlist about us arguing with each other or disagreeing on things that, for me, are common sense, that I don't want to be in arguments about, okay? Because I've been doing a lot of stuff that you don't know about, because, to be honest, you guys, I know more about you than you know about me, especially Irina and me. There's a big divide between how much we know about each other. And so that means all this time you've been operating on assumptions, and it's, and I'm tired of how that makes me feel. It's tiring. It's tiring, people making up stuff about me instead of trying to find out. I've suffered some of this today in ways that piss me off. I was telling off 2 important people in their office about how they're doing this. And, I'm tired of it. I said, I'm going to give a complaint about defamation. It's annoying. I'm tired of this kind of crap. So, about triggers, by the way, triggers are normal, okay? If somebody has too many triggers, or they come out too easily, or they're intense, that's not normal. What is important about triggers is how we respond to it. So how I'm responding, I don't know if you guys did anything else since the last time I was on the internet. I will see when I post this. But how I'm responding is to say, we need to do better. Otherwise, I don't want to participate in projects that aren't going to be well developed, because I value intelligence very, very much. So again, I want to say what I want to add, because I want to add a structure where the 90 minutes will go a certain way, and then based on this 90 minutes, at the beginning of the next session, we will quickly say we've finished collaborating on a way to evaluate in practical terms what this intelligence is, and we're going to quickly describe it in the first 5 minutes of the next video. And that's a way to not just be bullshitters ourselves, right? To be in denial, because denial is a disconnection from reality, and I'm tired of having these kind of arguments. So for me, I do not want to talk about an ecocentric worldview unless people take my course, and that's the context of discussing it. I'm tired of arguing with people whether they have it or not, and what that would look like. I don't want to participate in those conversations. It's the last year I'm giving my course. I've given up on the people primates. You guys have known about the course. If anybody wants to catch up, it's already started, and it's the last year. And if I have to do it by myself, that's fine. But I don't want to discuss this within these topics. These topics should be specifically related to each type of intelligence, including the ones later on, including how the 3 at the end will be us, including accountability, because accountability must be included in these things. We're not going to do lectures on intelligence without role modeling it and being tested transparently with accountability for it. And whatever our result is that's what it is. And we will come up with tests together to do this. And some of us will have better grades in this category or this category, and we will divulge these grades openly. But we must devise these tests. And that's a part of role modeling, other than just talking about the different kinds of intelligence that we need to do to whoever might observe, even if it's just GCC. Even if it's just 4 people from the GCC look at the entire series. It'll be worth it, butterfly effect, to do it right, and it must include the accountability of us testing ourselves with it. Now, let's say we talk about naturalist intelligence. We're not going to make a list of like 100 things and we must do all these things when we're tested. No, we could come up with a simple abbreviated version of this definition and see how, based on our own lives, it can be evaluated in behaviors. And we can actually evaluate it within a week's period, and that means during that week, that's what the results of our intelligence in that category was. And then at the end, we could talk about all of the results we had and what it means about having an Homo sapien operating system, and where, our weaknesses and strengths are, and how we want to role model getting better at these for our audience. That's what I'd like to do. If this sounds like too much for you guys, that's okay. You just have to say it. But I value intelligence, and I value transparency, and I value accountability, and I don't just say it. I want to live this. And I will not compromise not living this. I will live in this way where I want to keep getting better in all forms of intelligence, keep living a life that is more and more transparent, living by my own worldview and values. And yes, it's hard for people. I can't be myself if I want to play badminton in a club, because they can't handle me. But I can deviate a little bit to play badminton. But with us, I'm going to be me, and you have to take me as I am, with my opinions, my research over, even before Irina knew me, and it's more than 5 years, I believe, is I collected data to say things. So, for example, so we don't butt heads with opinions about how we see reality, is we have to decide that when we come to the end of, let's say, a video on naturalist intelligence, we would answer species-wide where we believe the level of the human condition is related to that type of intelligence if we defined it properly. And actually that part should come after we devise a test for it that we agree on, because then we can imagine not just people in my neighborhood or that I see every day, but based on, current affairs in the news, what I know of other cultures and countries and nations and peoples, and how would they do, and then we would say, and that's it. We don't need to agree or disagree with a follow-up. We can just say, that's my number or my rating for the species. And you can call them humans if you want, and I can call them the Homo communia. But we'll just maybe say people primates if you want to agree on a neutral term between the three of us. So first video, let's say, and it doesn't have to be we restart with naturalist. We can do that later. And I challenge you guys that when you pick a subject that you're not believing that you're good at as a form of intelligence. That'll be a great challenge, and it'll also open the window of transparency in there. So that's what I want to say. And again, I do not want more than 2 weeks to go by with a finished product video. And in between those 2 weeks, we must work on devising this test, okay? And that means we need to send to each other really frequently through this Triad Facebook and get it before the next video finished that we post. This is the test to evaluate this intelligence, and this is where we believe the people primates as a species globally would rate. And just to be honest, you guys, naturalist intelligence, if you're honest, our species, I'm not talking about me or you, species, doesn't even rate in the first 100 on this planet. Our species doesn't rate in the first 100 on this planet for naturalist intelligence. So if you're not ready to admit something like this, you really believe that we are number 1, 2, or 3 when we're not even close for that type of intelligence, then again, think about whether you want to do this project with me, which has to have objectivity. We can't just throw words around and then act differently or say different things that are inconsistent. We can't say, I'll pick and choose like the Japanese. I want this type of funeral from this religion, this type of baptism from this religion, this type of marriage from this religion, eventually, if they identify with all these religions, they don't live in the same reality. Reality is defined differently by these religions. So they're giving themselves cognitive dissonance. And they think it's great because it's a balance. Balance of what? Of different versions of realities that don't exist so that you don't offend as many people as you could. This is not intelligence to me. So we need to be on the same page with this, or just pick a different subject that we could be deciding to do as a project. Okay, just let me know when you see this. I'll try to post it tomorrow morning, Wednesday for me, which will be later in the day for you.